This Bugatti on the surface looks perfect. Never been crash damaged, never been stolen, and never been in a flood. But what if I were to tell you that it had a much darker history? Today, we're going over how Hoovie's garage's Bugatti Veyron might have had a history that you want to forget. Now this is how Hoovie's garage may have bought a car that was in the Epstein files. Look at this car, on the surface pretty normal. A 2008 Bugatti Veyron 16.4 litre, spec'd in the iconic blue and black two-tone with a beauty of a blue interior. This car has to be one of the most iconic examples of a hypercar from the 2000s, and in this video we uncover the alleged past and the fact that this car may have been seen in the Epstein files. A fact that may have been lost to history if a YouTuber didn't become a
Bugatti man.
I don't know why he says it like that, but it's kind of a vibe. Our story starts with publicity. Most owners of a car like this, who on average, by the way, own 84 cars, 3 planes and 1 yacht, like to keep their private lives, well, private. But on YouTube, a Bugatti is gonna bang. So we're gonna skip from 2008 to October 30th of 2024, when one of the most liked automotive YouTubers in the world managed to shock the automotive community with this.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is my Bugatti Veyron.
And as someone who coins himself the dumbest automotive channel on YouTube, made a really smart move that day. But without knowing, he brought that car to light. Hoovie went on to own this car, documenting what it was like to live with one of the most expensive hypercars in the world, one thing that most people can only aspire to do so, before then trading in for his absolute dream car, a 300 SL Gullwing, in August 31st of 2025. Within this time, he also mentioned the previous owner of this car, which we'll get back to later. So scroll on to December 19th, 2025. And once again, he may have made one of the smartest financial decisions he could have made, and that was selling the car. This date may stand as one of the most important dates in history, as we saw the first full disclosure of a large-scale investigation into the world.
The Epstein files have just been released by the Justice Department.
Although this topic is sensitive, the automotive scene went mad talking about the car collection that was included within it. In this, we see a McLaren SLR, 2 Hummer H2s, an Aston Martin DB9, and a lot of limos. But in these files, a car appeared. In one photo, this photo, a lineup of Epstein cars with a Bugatti situated at the back, in the very same specification. Research through VinWiki and the auction listings show the VINs match, and Hoovie's car was in fact in the Epstein files. Again, this image was taken long before his ownership, so I don't want anyone in the comments starting conspiracy theories. I'm looking at you. So this got everyone digging deeper. It was brought to light this photo was taken at an auction lot in 2010 in Fort Lauderdale. So this made me beg the question, did Jeffrey Epstein indeed own this Bugatti circa 2010? To work this out, we wanted to remove as much guesswork, so it was all about finding the pieces of the puzzle, these being timing, funds, proof, and all-important connection. Firstly, timing of funds. Let's briefly lay out a timeline of what we do know. Well, Epstein was born in 1953. Research shows he was a teacher at Dalton School in the mid-70s for a brief time, so don't think anyone's buying a Bugatti on a teacher's wage. But hey, prove me wrong. But in the 1980s, Epstein starts making money. Big money. Epstein seemed to miraculously climb the social and economic ladder, quickly having reported a net worth of $15 million in 1998. So by 2008, when the Bugatti was released, he was definitely in a financial situation to buy a car like this. And it was stated he was still buying luxury assets, even though he went to prison for the first time after pleading guilty for offences. However, he had work release, which to me is mental. So that solved 2 parts of the puzzle, funds and time frame. But the proof and connections is where this story takes a total U-turn. Now, both of these puzzle points took us on a journey. Looking into the image, it became very clear that there are cars present that weren't Epstein's, as they aren't mentioned anywhere else. Now, the internet unlocked another part to this story, and this is pretty important. Now, obviously, we know it's an auction, but not just any auction lot. You can see from this image, it was sold at Vehicle and Vessel in Florida on the 3rd of June, and this was the Treasury selling off assets of a man. So who was this man? Well, enter in Scott Rothstein, a CEO, chairman and shareholder of a now defunct Rosenfeld Adler law firm. Defunct? Well, yeah. This guy wasn't the most straight-cut individual. This man, allegedly, was the biggest Ponzi schemer in the world, with a sum of 1.2 billion landing him a sentence of 50 years in prison. His cars were sold off in 2009, ending what finished a rags to riches to jail story, according to the US attorney Wilfredo Ferrer. So, what did this tell us? Well, the car wasn't Epstein's, but it was bugging me. How the hell did this photo find its way into the Epstein files? And that's where the fourth piece of the puzzle comes in, and that is connection. This is where the story goes wild. So I've been looking into this story for ages, and one of the big things that I've been getting stuck on is where the link is between Rothstein and Epstein. Now, obviously, they would have turned around in similar circles in 2009, or rather earlier than that. Ultra wealthy, probably had a lot of time in Florida and New York, so that would link them, but I never actually found their names together until now. We've just found a story that was on 6th South Florida about pervy billionaire, which is a Rothstein victim. Now, it's the first time that I've actually found a case where both of their names are mentioned together and actually makes out that they obviously knew each other. So let's have a little bit of a read. So this, in fact, is the story. So December 8th, 2009. Now, key things to think about this is obviously pervy billionaire, a Rothstein victim, shows the time frame. 2009, Epstein had already been arrested once, and this is when he was serving his 13 months of basically prison service with the ability to go out and work. And then it mentions further down how they knew each other. So what effectively my understanding is that what Rothstein was doing was he would basically let people buy into his law firm and effectively get a portion of the settlement figures at the end of a lawsuit. Now, in this scenario, it actually mentions that Epstein alleges that Rothstein had been telling investors that they would get hands on a nearly $200 million settlement with Epstein after he'd worked it out with the RRA. Now, the thing is, Epstein had never agreed to this, but it finally gives us our link. It's fair to say that at some point in this time, although it became tumultuous, it's likely they knew each other quite well. So that's more than likely where the images of the Bugatti came from.
So it's safe to say that this story was, well, a very interesting one. Following from the funds and timing that could have led to Epstein owning the car itself being in the Epstein files, and, well, of course, all this happened long before Hoovie owned the car, it led us to Scott Rothstein, the Ponzi schemer who allegedly defrauded 1.2 billion out of other people and led to one of the most interesting stories of a Bugatti in the world. Now, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you all soon. And if you have any good leads on another new story, let me know in the comments.